All right, welcome to another presentation on the software. This is an electronic voting system. It's called e-voting system. Um, we all know how voting has been an issue. When you are talking about voting system, you should take care of some basic information. That means every qualified voter should be able to vote with the system. The system should be able to make available all lists of candidates, all lists of registered voters. The voting system should be able to stop overvoting or do away with overvoting, and then it should be able to also minimize the number of spoiled ballots during voting. It should be transparent, and then it should also be trustworthy, and it should be void from any manipulation from any third party or any secondary person. Now, this is a system that I have just created. It's very simple. I might not be the main person who started the whole idea of the concept. I actually pulled it out from a friend and modify it more to fit into this our terrain or our modern system of voting. So the system is very simple. I'm going to log into the admin. There are basically two type of users for this system, two users or two group of users. The first group of users are the admins. That's the people who are going to conduct the election. That's this is the election chairman and his committee, the people. So I call them the administrators of the system. Then we also have the second group of users, which are the voters, the normal users, the voters, people who are coming to cast their ballots. So these are the two group of users. It's a very simple system. So first of all, the first group of users, which is the admin, are those conducting the elections, those who have been given the mandate to conduct the election. Now they have basically a few sort of functions they can do. The system restricts them a lot, such that they don't actually have much to do, and everything about the system is automated, and the only thing they do is just to create account for new users and also to schedule an election. The process of voting and all those, they only start the vote and then they end the vote, and that is all. So instead of talking so much, let us just get in there. So I use admin as the username, and then I use admin, I think 123 as the password. For this, that doesn't mean that when you go online you get it, you just put in this and it locks in. No, this is just for trial purpose. So this is what I've used for the credentials. So when you look at it, I'll leave this for a few number of days for people to go in and also try their hands on it, just to get the functionality of the system. So we are logging in as admin. The same login interface is used by the admin and also used by the voters. So there's no different or unique login interfaces for both users. It's the same login interface, but once you put in your credentials, it knows who you are. So I click on login, and then it logs in successfully. I'm not going to save the password. Yeah, so it logs in successfully. I think I should have edited some things out before undertaking this, but all the same, let's see what goes in. All right, so once you come in here, the first thing you notice is that you are being given a dashboard. This is the admin dashboard. The admin dashboard is very simple. um, you first of all see that you have your administrator here, and you have this button there. When you click on this, you are logging out. So this is actually for logout. When you click on this, you are logging out. Now we also have the immediate dashboard. So this is the dashboard. We have the voters. That's the total number of voters. So we have two of them. Then those who have voted, how many people have voted for the current election undertaking? Zero. Nobody has voted out of the two people. So this is just a brief information. You can always be monitoring your election as it's going on. Then we have the pool information about the election. So pool, or into brackets voting information, is still in process. So right now the system has been activated for voting, and the voting is still in process. That's what it's just telling you. Then we have the type of election that is undertaken. That's that election title is always on top here. You have student election 2022. So this is the election. Then some brief details about it. To elect leaders for the school. That's just the brief details about it. So this is the type of election being conducted, student election 2022. Then we usually have, you have the candidates. For now, it's only one candidate for this particular election that has been kept president, and he's even unopposed, so this will be like a yes or no vote. So president, and the name of the one standing for the president is Cecil, and then this is just a picture of the person. So this is just brief. We will do something more reliable and tangible than what we have here. Then we come in to the left hand corner where we have the menu. So what we are seeing here, the voters voted, pool info, and all those things are just the dashboard. That's the dashboard. Then we have the menu here. The menu immediate button on the menu is the home. So once you click on the home, this is what we see. Then the next menu there, or the next item on the menu bar, is category list. When you click on category list, this is what we see. We will look at them into details. And then you come to voting list. You click on voting list, and this is how it looks like. Then we come to users. You click on users, and you have the users. Then we come to profile. You click on profile, and here you are with the profile. It's the same as the users. So let's go back to the first stop, which is the home. So we are at the home, which tells us a brief information about the current election that is taking place. So when we go to category, let's go to category and have a look at it. Now, when you click on category, the system is created in such a way that you can use the system for various elections, different types of elections. The elections are not, it's not a system created for a particular type of election, like you just conduct an election and the next year is the same election you are repeating. No, you can always conduct as to many elections as you want. You just need to create a new election, and then you enroll your voters, and then you start everything afresh. So in view of that, we have the category. Immediately you open the category, you see category form. The category is talking about the type of election that you are taking, what the kind of election you are going to undertake. You see, you have to create the candidates for the election. So if you are having a student election, then what are the categories under it? We have president, we have secretary, we have financial secretary, we have organizer, we have, so these are the, if you are creating a political party election, you will have something like, maybe you have the chairman, the propaganda secretary, the what have you, woman, this women organizers, all those kind of things. So this are where we talk about the category. So you can see that already created categories are here, and the categories have president, vice president, secretary, organizer, financial officer. Then we have actions here you can take on them. You can edit each and every um, category, or you can even delete the category and put in a new one. So for instance, if I want this financial secretary, I want to delete it and recreate it. So I just did a smart turn by copying it. So I'm going to delete that. So I just click on delete and then delete category. And then successful is gone. So you see that category is not there. So let's imagine that if there wasn't a category like financial officer, and you want to create one for people to stand in for or to compete for, you just come to the category, then you click in here and you type in your financial officer, then you click on save. Remember, you see that financial officer is taken off here. I want to add it, so I click on save, and here you are, data successful, what added, and then your new category is added, which is financial what officer. So that's just all about here. You create the various positions that people are going to aspire for in the election. That's all about a category, and then you can edit them or delete them at any time you want to. Now, if any category is not here, candidates cannot stand in for that category. So take note. Take note. Candidates cannot stand in for that category if you haven't created it. So after creating the category list, the next thing is you may also want to create your users. Users are here. We'll come to voting list, but first of all, let's look at users. So when you come to users, you click on users. You see a list of all the users on the platform, and any user who is an admin, you see admin there. So this first user is an administrator account. So you see the name administrator. Then we have what this is admin. That's the username. So you see all the users. If there are 20, you see them line up there. Now, if you check here, you see that you can take action against a user. You can click here, you can delete a user or you can edit a user. So when you click on edit a user, you get informations of the user. For instance, the username, that's the type of user. This username is only talking about the description. What is that user? Who is the name? Who is that user? What is the name? That's why you type that. They have username. This username and then password is meant for the user to be able to log in. So you put a username here, then you put a password there for the user. Then you have type of users. There are two types of users. We have the admin and the user. The user simple stand for the voters. So the admin cannot vote. Admin only conduct elections. So if you are creating for another admin, then you click on admin. That admin account cannot vote, can only help manage the system for an election to be undertaken. But when you click on user, it means that this is a voter, not a candidate, a voter, somebody who is coming to vote. That's a user. So you can now click on save to save it if there are any changes. If you also want to add a new user, maybe a new member of the association or a new member of the group or a new member of the organization, you want to add for the person to be able to vote, you click on what? New user. So once you click on new user, you will put in the name of the user, full name of the user, then the user name, that is the username is going to use to log in, and then the password that will be used to log in. Then you select the type of user, maybe a user which is just a voter. Then you click on save. That new user will be created. That new user will be created. So that's how simple it is to create a user. So once you've created your users, you have the users here. Then the next thing you have to look at is voting list. Voting list. So this, I think, in my future update, I will rearrange them. I'll bring the users first before I bring the voting list. So take note if you see it elsewhere, and I've rearranged them so that they will just be in order. So voting list. Once you click on voting list, this is where you create a fresh election. So you first have to know what is the election I'm going to undertake. For instance, the election you are going to undertake could be maybe NLC 2022 SRC election. So you just put in the name there and type it. But before that, before we create a new election, I want you to know that there's already an existing election going on. And that existing this election is here. You can see the title of the election is Student Election 2022. You remember that was what we saw when we went to the home, the dashboard. Student Election 2022. So that was the existing election. So that's the election currently undertaken. Then we have the description of the election. The description is here, and when you go back to the dashboard, you see that that is what is there. So the dashboard always shows the current election taking place. Then when you want to change it or you want to conduct a new one, you go to voting list. So I click on voting list once again. Then you see default. Yes, this is the default election that is going. Whenever you see there may be more than one elections that has taken place, but the one that has default to be yes is the one that will always be currently shown. And remember, only that one can be set to what? Only one of the elections, sorry, can be set to yes. The rest will always be no. Then action. The action here, you can edit or you can delete that election. Probably you are doing a test election, you finish testing the system and everything is fine. You just delete the election and you are done so that you can undertake a new election. And that is all for it. Now you can also edit the election by clicking on edit. When you click on edit, to your left hand side of the working area, you see the election name will be there, then the description will be there. You can just click on it and edit it to whatever you want, and then you'll be done. So if I wanted to do that, let me just copy this old one, then I'll edit it. So if let's say I wanted to edit this, I could have just said maybe NLC 2022 SRC election, and that is it. So this is my edited election. So I re-edit the name there, click on save. Once I do that, you see the name of the election has been edited and it's now saved. Probably I made a mistake earlier on. When I go back to the dashboard, you see that that is the name of the what of the election that is there over there. So you can see that. Okay, so this is just how you manipulate the election. So this is an election that is undertaken. Now I can create a new election. Maybe let's say we are in the year 2023, which we are not there yet. I just assume. So let's say we now have NLC 2023 SRC election. I'm slow in typing. I know that. Just don't mind me. I'm slow in typing. Then maybe the description should be the same. It's an SRC election, the discretion. So the name of the election should always have something to change it. The discretion can be the same if it's the same type of election you do every year. You can always have the description to be the same, but the name of the election must always differ. So here the difference is 2022 and 2023. So 2022 is here, 2023 is here. We are not yet in 2023, but let's assume that I'm preparing for an election to take place on the 1st of January 2023. So once I do this, remember we have only one election for now. So I click on save. When I click on save, data successful save, and I have the second election, which is what? 2023 election. Now, if you realize 2023 election, the default is no. That means that this is not the election currently taking place. It's not the one currently taking place. So if I go back to home, you see that it's the 2022. But if I come back to voting list, the 2022 is yes, that's why it is the current election, but this is no. I can change it to this, and then when we go back, we would rather be dealing with the 2023 election. Now, before I do that, I want you to take notice of something. If you look at here, it say pool started, end pool. This end pool is a button. This pool started is just an information. The pool started means that the pool is ongoing. It has not stopped. The voting process is opened and candidates can vote. So when you come to home once again, you see that pool info, they said pool into bracket voting is still in process. So the pool is still in process. You can end this pool by going back to the voting list and then you click on end pool. Once you click on end pool, it means that they cannot vote again. The pool has come to an end. So let's say it's 5 p.m. and that is the end of the day and they want to end the pool. Just click on what? End pool. So you see confirmation. Are you sure you want to end the pool? Continue. Now you see the status has changed. It's now pool ended. Pool ended. So take notes. Always make sure that if an election is not ongoing, it should always indicate pool ended here. Whenever you see pool in process or pool started, then know that the system has been opened for voters to vote, and they can mess up the system if the election is not ready yet for voting. People can start casting their vote. So take notice of it. Now, anytime you are ready to start the election, you click on what? Start pool. Now, when you click on start pool, remember, it's starting the pool that the default is yes. The pool that has a default yes. So let's assume that I'm creating another election again for, maybe let's say there was an election for 2021. And the description, I'll just put it the same, is the same type of election. I want you to see something when we have about 3 elections that are on the list. So you see, 2021, no. 2023, no. But 2022, yes. So in anytime you see pool started, that means that the 2022 pool is what has been started and people can vote for it or can vote in that pool. So take note, before you start a pool, make sure you click on that pool and make it now the default before you start the pool. So now, if I want to make 2023 the default pool, because 2022 is finished now, that election is finished, and we now want to make 2023. Even though 2022 is still yes, but once I've ended pool, no candidate can vote. When you go there, you won't get a ballot paper to vote. A ballot sheet will not be made available to you. You can only see the voting information, and the system will tell you that the pool is ended. So if you go back here to the home, let's go to the home and see once again. You know, previously the pool information, the status was voting in process. Now you see that voting pool into bracket voting is ended. So it's ended. So voting cannot take place. And once it's ended, previously we didn't have, when you scroll down, you see nothing. Once the pool is ended, it gives you a declaration of the results. And the results declaration is automatic. The administrators don't have a hand in that. The system does the calculation, knows everything, and do the calculation, and you see the winner. So nobody can manipulate the system. So if you look at the system, apart from just entering users and then stating the type of election you want and starting the election, ending the election, the admin has no any control over the election results. So automatically, because we ended the pool, it said pool declaration, and it gives us the date and the time. They said at the end of the pool, the following candidates won for the 2022, the NLC 2022 SRC election. Then picture, there's supposed to be a picture. Then president it will give. But now there wasn't any voting. So because there wasn't any voting, that's why a question mark is there. That means the pool was not properly conducted. So we go back to voting list again where we conduct the pool. Now we want to do a practical example. So we'll just pick up 2023 election. So we'll click on 2023 election. Then you see confirm. Are you sure you want to set this data as default? Then you click on yes. Now look at what happens. Now the yes is now on 2023, not 2022 and not 2021 election, 2023. So this is the election our focus is now on. Our focus is on this particular election, the NLC 2023 as this SRC election. Now if I go back to home, remember home will give you a brief of whatever is happening. I go to home. You see that when you come to home, you realize that there are no candidates. Nothing. It just gives you the number of voters who are there, voted, nobody has voted, the pool information is not even stated. Then you just have the election title and the description of the election. Then you get no information. This is because we've not added candidates who are contesting for the 2023 election. I hope that makes sense. The previous one, we saw one candidate because we added it. Now this is a new election, 2023. No candidate has filed in yet. So to file in candidates, you still need to go back to the voting list. You go to the voting list. Then on the voting list, remember the pool have not started. Yes, we don't have candidate. Yes, we can start a pool, but we can't start a pool without candidates. So you come to where the particular pool you want to conduct. This time you click on it itself. You don't click on edit. If you click on edit, you are just editing the name and the description of the pool that you are going to undertake. But here we want to add candidates. So we come to the particular election title you want to add a candidate. Then you see that your hand turns to a click link. Your mouse turns to a click link. You click on it. It opens. Now when it opens, see what happens. It gives you the name of the election, the description of the election. Then it also gives you a button, add candidate. So you're adding candidate to this election, NLC 2023 SRC election. So when you click on add candidate, now you see, when you click on add candidate, say new candidate, category. Now this category is a drop down. You can click to see. So sorry. Once you click on it, you remember we created category list over there. Remember category list. Those are those categories here. The category list we created. That's what is we created from the category list. That's what is here. So you select a category. So we are selecting for president. Then the candidate name. What name? Who is standing in for the president? Who is standing in for the president? So you can say maybe you can put in a candidate like maybe Roger. What name can I put in? Let me get some surname for it. So Roger Don Libo. Don't ask me what it is. I myself don't know what I'm typing. So Roger Don Libo, let's say this is the person who is going to stand in for. So let me just add some respect to Roger. So Mr. Roger, you can put Honorable Roger, what have you? Yes, whatever name the person is bearing will be there. Dr. Roger will be there. So you put in then the picture of the candidate. So here you click, then you select a picture for the candidate. Do I even have pictures on my it looks like I don't have a picture. I just don't have a picture. I need a picture of someone. Let me go to downloads. Let me scroll down to see if I can get a picture here. I know this wouldn't take you time because you have a lot of pictures there. So okay, let me take this. This is the picture of the candidate. So I take in this picture, and that's the picture there. So the candidate is standing for presidency. His name is Mr. Roger Don Libo. Then we have the picture of the candidate. I click on save. Now data successful save. So you see, president, we have a candidate there. President, we have a candidate there. Then maybe I can add another candidate again for the same presidency. Maybe I add Peter. Peter, I have problem with getting surnames. I don't even know them as such. Okay, Peter Adams. That sounds funny anyway. Let's forget about that. It sounds funny. Anyway, so I add another candidate. Maybe let's say this one is Dr. Peter Adams. So I put in also for presidency. Then I select another picture. This time we may need a different picture. We can't be using the same picture as such. So let's say this is I want a beautiful picture for. Okay. Yes, I can just put in something like this. So this is Mr. Peter. I just put in this picture. So that's Mr. Peter. This. Then I save. So you see, we now have president, two candidates. So that is just how we put in the candidate. If there are three, you add another one. And then you select the same president. But if maybe the next one is a secretary, let's say where is the secretary? Secretary is here. Then Madam Evans. Madam Eva. Madam Eva Kula. Madam Evans Kula. Then you put in the name. Maybe she's standing for secretary. I saw a lady's picture. That's why I'm deciding to go in for Madam Eva so that I can get a picture for the person. Yes, this looks like Madam Kula. So I add this to it. Now remember, she's standing for secretary. So you see another category is created for secretary. For secretary. Now, if it happens that she's the only one standing for it and you want a yes or no, we'll come to that. We'll do something of that sort. But let's add another candidate again. What can we add again? What can we add again? Okay, so let's add a candidate like Ama Bakamli. Have very weird names. I don't even know how I get them. I'm very bad at names, you know, very bad at names. So let me just add Madam to it. So then I look for another picture. There's going to be how I'm going to get this picture is going to be serious. I actually don't have pictures. Okay, why not just choose this picture? There's a lady. Amma cannot be a Chinese lady, but maybe I just consider it for that. So we have secretary. Wow. I don't know if you realize what we did. We actually didn't select secretary. We left it as president. So it came out to add to the president. So we can delete that. Let's delete that. Before that, I just don't want to go and type again. So I copy the name. Then I delete that. So you see, when you don't select the position where you put it at the wrong position. So we go again. Remember, we didn't change this. We didn't change it. We just left it at it for which is president. So let's put our secretary now. Then put in the name. Then we go back and then search for our picture. Go up a bit. And here she is. Then we add. And you see that the secretary, we have two candidates. Now, another scenario that can happen is if a candidate is standing unopposed. So nobody is competing with that candidate. How do we vote a yes or no for that candidate? So I want to do that for a particular category. So add candidate. Let's say that candidate is standing for financial officer, and that candidate is so good that nobody wants to even waste the time competing with that candidate. So we first of all put in the candidate's name. Let's say the candidate is myself, Cecil Doche, and then, well, can I give myself position? I like the position Prof. Cecil Doche, yes. And then you're taking a picture. Since I'm the one, can't I even get my own picture? That will be so sweet. Let me see. So I'm trying to see where I can get my pic. I have a weird way of saving information, so navigating to my data is always an issue. So Let me see what I can get. Good, I have my picture here. Good, that was an old picture anyway, so I add that picture, and then that looks fine. Then, oh wow, I just made a mistake. All right, so I've put in financial secretary to be this, but here in this case I want to make it a yes or no, so I'll delete this. I'll go back and rework on that. I'll delete it. So remember, you can always delete a candidate by just click on the delete bin by the person. Delete. So now we don't have financial secretary, so I'm adding one. So financial officer. Then we have prof. This time I'm not going to forget of my prof. Cecil Doche. Want to tell me I'll break my keyboard with the way I type. Now, to make this a yes or no, once I put in the name, I'm going to move a bit, then put in into bracket, then yes. I hope you get it, into bracket, yes. So this, if you are voting for Cecil as financial secretary, yes, you vote this. Then I put save. So Cecil, yes. Then we create another one, the same candidate name, because this is an unopposed candidate. So we create another one again. Then we put in that. I like copy and paste. This time no. Then we put in the same picture. Then we save. Oh no, we just did what we did. We didn't change the role. So let's take off this. We didn't change the role. We repeated the same thing we did the last time. So we need to change the position, financial officer. Then we paste in whatever we have. Then remember, the first one was yes, so this is no. Then I select the picture. Then after selecting the picture, I save. Okay, and that is that done now. So I move down, and you see the financial officer is the same person. One is Doche Cecil for yes, Doche Cecil for no. So it's going to be like having two candidates for that particular election, but it's actually not two candidates. It's the same candidate, but you just duplicated one for yes, one for no, and then the vote will be done. So this is how you handle an unopposed election, where you want a yes or no voting to take place. So if this happens, if these are all the positions you want your candidates to stand for, then you are good to go. Now you come back to voting list. But before we look at the voting list, let's go to the home. Now when you come to home, you see that the election now have candidates. You see that election, you see the number of voters still 2, the number of vote cast is 0. Then you now have NLC 2003 SRC election. Then for president, you have Mr. Roger Donlibo and Mr. Peter Adams. Secretary, you have Madam Eva Kula and Madam Amma Baganle, or what? I don't even know what I wrote there. Then financial officer, you have Prof. Cecil for yes and Prof. Cecil for no. So you just, this is the new election that is taking place. So for you to start the election, you come to voting list. When you come to voting list, you will need to click on start election because you already have it selected as default. If it's not on this, then you select and make sure that it's yes. Then you just click on start election. That's all. Election is started. And when the time comes for you to end the election, you just click on end election and election is ended. That is how simple it is. Now, we will try starting and ending our election, but before that, we need to create another user and use that user to now vote and see how the voting goes. So let's come to user. Let's create a new user. So we want to create a new user. We have two users, so we want to add another one. So this new user, what name can I give to this new user? Let me see. We can call this new user Mr. Mr. What? Okay, probably Mr. One of the candidates. All candidates should also be voters. So let me just use some of the candidates here. All candidates should be voters. So Mr. Roger, I told you I easily forget names. I can't even remember the other name I kept there. Roger, oh, I can't remember Roger's surname. Let me go back there and see. That will be under So remember, I want to go and see the candidate. So I click on voting list. Then I come to this. Then I go down to okay. So Roger is here. I'll just come to users here. I click on new user. I'm adding a new user because the candidate should be able to vote. Then password 1234. Oh no, I just messed it up. So password 1234. Then no, this username I can just put Roger 1. Maybe there's more than one Roger there. Then come pass 1234. Then role is a voter. Then I click on save. So a new user has been created, and you can see that new user there. So now when you come to the home, you see number of users are now 3. So we can go back again and pick the other user. What we are doing here is that we are adding new users to the voting system. But remember, the candidates are definitely going to vote, so we have to add them so that they can also undertake the election. So we come to users, we come to new again, then we put in this name, then the username we can say Peter 1, then the password you can put 1234. I don't want to forget, so I put in something simple. Then you click on save, and now we'll have our 4 users. So when you come to the home, you see that the users are now 4. I think let's just stop it this way. You understand the concept. It's all about just telling you the concept. So now that we have these users, why don't we log in with one of the users? So I'm opening a new tab. Don't worry about what is here. That's one of my works. I open a new tab. Then I want to copy the URL from here to that tab. I think the URL is here. Just copy the URL to that tab, and then I save. So remember, there's the same user interface for both the administrators and the voters. So here I want to log into Peter's account. Oh, sorry, I need to erase this. Peter 1, then password 1234. Then I click on login. Okay, so Peter 1 is logged in. So if you don't save anything, so if you realize this is now the voter or the voter's account. When the voter log in, this is how the voter is going to see. So the voter will see a brief ballot sheet. So you see that the ballot sheet is there. The voter can vote. But before that, let me see. Where am I now? Okay, so I think there was an error here. So yeah, so I think something was open already. So yes, so once you log in as a voter, you see Dr. Peter Adams is here. When you click on the name, it's going to sign the person out. So this is how the voter interface will looks like. And then we just have 2 things we'll be seeing. Category list. Oh no, I think that there's a mess up here. Logging into the same computer is just what is causing all this. So Peter, oh no, I'm doing the same thing. Peter 1, then we have 1234, then I log in. Okay, so this is what we will have to see. Yeah, so this is how the voter interface will be. So you see the candidate is already presented with a ballot sheet, but let's go back to the admin platform. Let's go to voting list. Pool ended. So pool is ended, and then we come back. So you can only start pool and you can end pool. Let's start the pool. We have started the pool, and pool started. So you see the pool is started. We are ending the pool. Pool ended. So that is how we started end the pool. So when we come back here, I just want to refresh the system. So once we come back here, when we refresh the system, so anytime you enter as an admin and you create an election, start the election and end the election first. I forgot to tell you that. You start the election and end the election so that the system will integrate itself. Because the system wasn't well integrated, that was why when we log into the user account, we had a ballot sheet. The ballot sheet was a previous ballot sheet information that was messing up. So you start and you end the pool again. So the pool is ended. So now when we come back to the sheet, we are going to log out and re-log in again. I just want things to be afresh. So Peter 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we log in and then it comes in here. So you see, once you log in, it's going to first of all give you 3 tabs. This is the voter. When the voter logs in, this is what the voter sees. It will give the voter 3 tabs. Now the tab 1 is voter register. You see the voter register. Tab 2 is candidate register. Then tab 3 is the pool information. So you will get, every voter will be able to see a list of all the voters. This is to make sure that the system is transparent. So when you see a user who is not supposed to be a member of the group, member of the association, or who is not supposed to be able to partake in that election, being part of the user, then you know that there's a foul play. You work that out and make sure that that user is taken out before the election starts. So these are where you see the users. So you see that the user will be there. So currently there are 1, 2, 3, 4 users. And these are their names. Then the pictures of the users will be here, but we didn't add pictures to those users. Now, these are voters, not candidates. These are voters. That's why they say voter register. Now, the candidates are automatically voters. That's why you see candidates' names here. Because remember, we added them. Candidates must vote. So the candidates' names are here. But there are other names like Cecil Doche, Donko Helder. They are no candidates, but they are ordinary voters. But these are voters and they are candidates again. So once you look at that, the next tab you go to, when you click on the next tab, you will see the next with candidate list. And the name of the election will be there. You see candidate list. The candidate list, you see the various positions. President, this person stood and this person stood. They see vice president, nobody stood, so there's nothing for vice president. Secretary, 2 people stood, and you see the names of the 2 people. Organizer, nobody stood, so it's empty. Financial secretary, 1 person stood by yes or no because it was unopposed. So yes or no vote will be done. So this is how you see the election information being shown. So this is the candidate register. Then you come to the pool. When you click on the pool will tell you how many people are on the voter register and how many have casted their votes. So nobody has voted yes, but we have four voters, which you can find on the voter register. Remember, all this information are accessed by the voter. The voter can see these informations, making it transparent. So you cannot add candidates because the voter knows the total number of candidates. And you cannot remove candidates because the voter knows the total number of candidates and can even go here to see the candidates' names. So now when you scroll down a bit, you see pool or voting is ended. It has not started. Then you can now see the election, SRC election, to select leaders from the school. That is just the description. Then you see president, you see the candidates there, but you can't vote. You can't vote. Actually this view pools will be showing you results of each candidate as the voting is going on. As they vote, you'll be seeing the number of votes counting here. Now they all have 0 votes. This one have 0, this have 0. The yes have 0, the no have 0. So it will continue that way. When voting starts, you see the votes reflecting here. As time goes on time, the vote will be reflecting. So that's how the votes go on. Then you see pool declarations. So you see the pool declarations. The system haven't gotten president, secretary, and financial secretary yet. So they are all on question mark, waiting for the pool to finish. So once the pool is finished, the pool starts and finish, you see the declarations here, and you see who is the winner of the election or who has won the election. And you can see the statistics of how much the person is leading his other candidates to confirm that actually the person won the election. Now you see that the voter don't also have anything to do with the system. It's just a matter of coming to view information and also cast your ballot, and that's all. Likewise, the administrator also have nothing to do than just putting in the election that will come, and then registering users, and that is just the end of it. The rest of the work is done by the system automatically, and no one can influence it. No one can influence it. So that's how it is. Now the ballot, there's no ballot. If you see ballot sheet, let's see, there's no ballot sheet. You see, when I click on ballot sheet, I get nothing. When I click on pool information, I get it. So you cannot vote. The election is not started. So that's why when you click, the ballot sheet will never come. So you see the ballot sheet, but it won't come. Now let's start the election. When we start the election, let's see what happens. So we start election. So start pool. Then so on the day of the voting, early morning, the particular time the election will start, the administrator will come here and click on start pool. And then, are you sure you want to start a pool? You click on yes. Pool successfully what started. Now pool, the status is what pool started, and asks you to end. You only click on this end when the election is ended, when the day is ended and the election is coming to an end. Now when we go to the candidates, when we go to the voter login, we are going to where the voter logged in. Here the voter is logged in. So now we refreshes the system, and boom, automatically your voting ballot sheet is in. Now you realize that the pictures are not well arranged because they have to be the same size, but for the purpose of our work, we just took pictures at random. But when you're conducting the election, make sure that when the pictures come, you resize them to the same size, the same length and height, so you see them arranged in order. So you see that some are up, some are down, those kind of things. All right, so here, this is the ballot sheet. So you see that we click on ballot sheet, and the ballot sheet is here. Then if once the pool starts, when you log in, you automatically see the ballot sheet. The ballot sheet is the first thing you see, and then you cannot see other things until you vote. So let's log out and log in again. We are logging out. We are logging in as Peter 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 as password. We log in. Oh no, not Peter, not admin, Peter 1. Just don't delay this. Okay, so we log in. And you see, the first thing you see is the ballot. So now voting is easy. For president, just choose. Now you can edit your profile, you can change your password, but this is an election day. You don't even want to screw up with distance. So you just click, who do you want to be the president? Probably Mr. Roger. I want Mr. Roger to be the president. So you just click and to mark it. So you see that if mistakenly you chose this, you can rechange it again by choosing the right and it leaves that one and mark what you want. So I want Mr. Roger to be the president, then secretary. So I'm just voting like that, secretary. So here you cannot do double voting. You can only click one candidate at a time. Even if you are three, you can only click one, and then it will unclick the other. So secretary, I want to select Madam Amma. Then financial secretary, for one reason or the other, the picture was not well loaded. This will not repeat, I know. So yes or no for Cecil, yes. Cecil, no. Let me take yes, it's obvious. Yes, since he's unopposed, then that means he can do the job. So I've selected all the candidates for the election. So you see, you may have a lot of categories, but maybe not all of them are going to be applied in a particular year. So only those that are applied. So I voted. So this is just how you vote. I voted. If it was on phone, on mobile phone, it's going to look like this. You see, it's very nice on mobile phone. This is how it's going to look like on a mobile phone. So compatibility with devices is well taken care of. So you see president, then you see the first candidate, second candidate, see secretary, first candidate, second candidate, financial officer, yes or no. I get it. So that is just how it is. Then you can submit. So I'm taking it back to a computer view. You can submit. So you click on submit. Once you vote, you cannot vote again. But before we submit, I want us to go to the admin again. Go to home. This is the admin. Go to home. You see that 4 candidates, number of votes is 0. Now let's look at the candidates. See, they are all having 0, 0, 0, 0. Nobody has voted yet. So now let's go back to the voter login. The voter has logged in. So the voter has finished. The voter needs to submit. So you click on submit. Now it's successful submitted, and then you'll be given your ballot history. So you submit it now. You see, it now tells you election 2023 SRC election, the description. You voted for president, this person. So president is the person you voted for. I have a distraction here. I'll have to call the person later. I just forgot I was even doing presentation. All right. So the president is here. You voted for Mr. Roja. You can just tap on it and it will change for you to see more details. So you voted Mr. Roja for president. Then secretary, you see it. Then financial secretary, you see it. And then that is all about it. Someone is disturbing me on phone, but well, I have to finish this presentation. So this is just a brief information on the vote, what you are the candidates you voted for. At this point, there's nothing you can do. You are done with the voting. Now let's go to the admin side and see whether the data will reflect. So let's refresh it, and then you can see now 4 candidates, yes, and voted. 1 candidate has voted for president. The candidate voted for Roja, which was true. For secretary, the candidate voted for Ama. Then for yes or no, he voted for what? Yes. So you see, that's how the results are going to be compiled. They'll come in live as when you vote. So after this, the voter, we are now on the voter platform. The voter can now view the pool. So the voter too can view to see what is happening. So the voter click on view pool. The voter to sees the same thing. Yes, 4 candidates, 1 voted. This is how the votes are going. Then the voter knows that, oh, wow, my candidate is leading or my candidate is losing. And that is all about the voting system. Now, when the pool is ended, so we are going to log out this and log in another user. So we log out this, then we log in another user. The second user, I think, should be Roger 1. Roger 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so Roger 1 haven't voted. So you see that the ballot sheet is still there for Roger 1. He hasn't voted yet. So Roger would definitely like to vote for Roger. That reminds me, I don't even understand why Peter voted for Roger instead of himself. That is insane. And then Roger may also want to vote for Eva. And then maybe Roger is voting for yes. And then Roger submits the vote. And it's gone. Roger gets the declaration of his the brief info on what the candidates he has voted for. Then we go into the admin platform just to check what is happening there. We refresh. Admin, 2 people have voted now, and we can see that Roger has 2 votes because Peter voted for Roger and Roger also voted for himself, having 2. Peter still have nothing, which is insane for Peter to have voted against himself. But that's just for demonstration anyway. So remember Eva, Roger voted for Eva, and then Peter also voted for Amma, so they have 1-1. And then you can also remember that Roger voted for yes for Cecil Doce, and Peter also voted for yes, so 2 votes for yes and 0 for no. So that's how the election goes. Now, at any point in time where the day has come to an end, and then the administrator wants to end the election, the administrator just comes to voting list and then comes to end pool. So we click on end pool and then click on continue. So the pool is successfully ended. And now remember, before the pool was ended, the results weren't declared yet. So you come here, ballot sheet. You see the ballot sheet is gone, pool is ended. But this now the voter. The voter can view to see the election results. So the voter go in and see that, oh, well, Roger have 2 here, Eva and this also have 1-1. This also have 1. Then you move down, then you see. Then the election is conducted and the person who is winning the election is given. And that is how the declaration is done. So you also go to that of the admin. The admin can also see that. And the declaration is also here. And it declares who the winners are. So you see that the declaration is clear. It says that Mr. Roger Don Libo, then Secretary Madam Eva Kola, then financial officer this declares the results, and that's all about the election. So the election is very simple and easy, and uh, uh, the system has made it so easy that um, conducting election using an electronic format is one of the best for us all to always what try to use in order to take away so many impression or so many views of people about how election is conducted. So that's how briefly the election is done. Thank you very much. I wish to catch you in another episode where we talk about more other stuff. Thank you.